Hi guys, welcome back to Beauty Fortified. If you have ever been intimidated or overwhelmed by red lipstick and you've avoided it for that reason, then I'm here to help you today. Now, red lipstick can be an absolutely magical thing to have in your makeup arsenal. It really is the epitome of glam. And once you find one that you really love, I'm sure that you'll never look back. And for me, wearing red lipstick has been a rite of passage. I only started wearing it in my 40s because prior to that I always felt that it was a little bit too grown up. I also felt that it was a little bit aging in my 30s, and so it's something that I really embraced when I got to 40, and I have never looked back. But it can be really overwhelming if you are looking for a red. You want to kind of venture into that territory because there's so many different shades to choose from. There are muted reds, brown reds, blue reds, berry reds, brick reds. It really can get quite overwhelming. And then coupled with that, there are also the different textures. So I thought today I would take you through a few different shades of red and some different textures. I'm not being brand specific here. I've just pulled things from my collection that fit into each category, but just to give you some idea of the choice that you have and how you can start to narrow it down. So I'm going to be starting off with muted reds, and the one that I have on at the moment is one of my holy grails, and it's the Revlon Rum Raisin. Now, you might debate some of the categories that I've put these reds into, and that's absolutely fine. But where I've kind of found more than one which I think forms part of a certain shade range, I have kind of grouped them all together. But if you decide that this is more berry than muted, then that's okay. So just for ease of reference, this is Rum Raisin, which I consider a muted red. And the reason why I consider it muted is because it is not a show-stopping red. It's just a kind of very polished red, which doesn't kind of scream red lipstick. So I really love it for a work environment. And I've also got another Revlon lipstick, and this is in their Shine range, and it's also Rum Raisin. So I'm going to swatch these for you on the back of my hand, and you can see the difference. And they're very, very similar in shade, but here the textures are quite different. So on the left-hand side, I've got the Revlon Rum Raisin, which is part of their Super Lustrous lipstick range. And then over here, I have got Rum Raisin in the Shine formula. So these are quite different. The Shine formula is a lot more sheer. So if you were going to venture into this realm, but you didn't want something quite as opaque as the Rum Raisin that I have on, then you could definitely mitigate that by going for something a little bit more sheer. But it is a kind of neutral red, I would describe it as. I've got another one here, and this is from the MAC range. This is Retro Red. I also consider this a muted red, and there it is on my hand there. So you can see it's very similar, but these don't contain too much brown. They don't contain too much berry or brick. They're just kind of somewhere in between. And these are great for a daytime look or a work look, or just something to pep yourself up if you are wearing a very pared down face, so you don't have a lot of eye makeup on. I've gone very light with my makeup today. I've just got a little bit of blush. I'm using the shade Prism from MAC. It's a very kind of neutral blush. And so a red lip is just the perfect way to spice everything up. Talking of spicing things up, I'm now moving on to what I consider true reds. So the one that I have on is Ruby Woo. It's an absolute classic and it works on most skin tones. So it really is a winner. It's from the MAC Matte range. And then another one I have from MAC, it's from the Luster Glass range. And this is in the shade Glossed and Found. And this is a beautiful shade because it also has that true red hue to it, but it does have a little bit of a glossy sheen. So these luster lipsticks are more like balms, but the color and the pigment really does make a statement. So for true reds, I would consider wearing them for a night out if you weren't brave enough to wear them in the office. It just depends what environment you work in, but they really are beautiful, and these ones you can really see coming. So they really do make a statement, and that's what I would consider true reds. And some might say that they do have a little bit of blue to them. I think Ruby Woo, they do say it has a little bit of blue, and that's what gives it its kind of neutral, almost true red tone. So it really is an absolute beauty. Now we're moving into the territory of brown reds. Now, typically I have found brown reds to be the most wearable for myself personally. And I've got two that I rotate, and these are very, very often what I would wear to work. And I just love them because they're understated, but they're still giving you some pigment at the same time. They're still adding a little bit of brightness to the face, to the skin. And the two that I have in my collection are, again, from the MAC Luster Glass range. The one that I have on my lips today is called PDA, and then I have another one called Business Casual. Now, I have swatched them on my hand for you, just got to see which way around. So this one over here is PDA, so you can see it's a little bit darker, it's got a little bit more pigment and a little bit more brown to it. And then next to it I have the one called Business Casual. And I just love them both. I'm probably more drawn to Business Casual as an everyday lipstick, just to kind of lighten and brighten the face, just because it is a little bit more sheer, it has a little bit more pink to it. But these are both great workhorses, so can really recommend something that is a little bit more brown. The 90s are coming back, of course, so what better way to express yourself than with a reddy brown lip. But they really are great just for everyday wear. They don't make a huge statement, but they do enough to just kind of lighten your face and add a little bit of definition to your lips. Moving on to orange reds. Now, orange reds are beautiful for summer, and they're also quite a safe option if you're not quite ready to venture into the bright show-stopping Ruby Woo or into the more vampish kind of colors. So they really are beautiful, and I think orange reds go with most skin tones as well. So the one that I have on is from Wet n Wild, and it is in the shade Firefighting. I love this because it is quite sheer, it can be built up. It reminds me very much of the MAC Luster Glass lipsticks, so really is a lovely one. And then the other one that I have is also from MAC, and this is in the shade Chili. Now, Chili is a little bit more serious, it's not as sheer, it's more opaque, and probably has better staying power, but they both are beautiful just to kind of give you a really gorgeous kind of coppery, summery lip. So I've swatched them here for you. On the left you have got Chili from MAC, and then on the right you have got Wet n Wild, and that is Firefighting. So they do look quite similar, but the textures are very different, and it really just depends on what you're comfortable wearing on your lips. The Wet n Wild one is quite glossy. The MAC one is, I think it's a satin, so definitely will have more lasting power. But again, they're just beautiful and can be worn every day as well. You don't need to wait for a special occasion. If you're looking for a red lip for fall or winter, then berry reds are definitely the way to go. And the one that I have on is from Wet n Wild. Can't for the life of me see the name, but I will put it up on screen. And this is a definite kind of true berry. MAC does have an equivalent, it's called Spice It Up, although I'm not sure if it is still sold everywhere. But here it is on the back of my hand. This is the Wet n Wild one. Again, it's quite a sheer, safe lipstick, so it's very comfortable to wear on the lips. It wears off really evenly, and it's a safe choice in that, you know, if you don't have time to reapply, you don't need to worry, because it kind of wears off and just becomes a little bit of a stain. So the problem with matte or kind of satin red lipsticks is that you do run the risk of your lipstick sort of disappearing and you're kind of left with a line around your lips. And there's really nothing worse than that. I hate it when that happens. But with these sheer ones, you don't need to worry about that because they kind of wear off evenly. So I call them safe choices for that reason. But the color is really, really beautiful. So look out for berry reds. The last category that I have for you are brick reds. Now, these are some of my favorite reds because they're kind of sitting on the fence a little bit, so they're not as bright as the Ruby Woos or as the true reds, but they definitely make a statement. The one that I have on my lips at the moment is the Elizabeth Arden, and it's called Brick. And the other swatch that I have for you is from Max Factor, and that is their lipstick in Chili. Also a beautiful color. Chili has got a little bit of, it's kind of shot through with a little bit of gold, but it's not apparent on the lips. So I have swatched them for you. On the left hand side I have the Elizabeth Arden, and to the right of that I have the Max Factor, which does look a little bit pink in comparison to the Elizabeth Arden, but I would still consider it a brick red. And brick reds are fantastic if you have neutral to warm skin tones as well. And as I say, if you're not quite ready to make the full statement of a true red, then brick is definitely the way to go. So guys, finding the right shade and texture for you is really just a matter of trial and error. But when you do get there, the payoffs are definitely worth it. I really love my red lip. I don't wear it every single day, but I have a different red for each occasion, and I'm very, very happy with that and to have that choice. Of course, you don't need to have one of each. You just need to find one that really, really works for you. So let me know what some of your favorite reds are. I would love to hear from you. Please leave me a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.